Welcome back to a brand new episode of Mastering Programming. A lot of my friends ask me what would I change if I start my whole career again. So if I start app development again, whether it's app development, game development, my YouTube channel or whatever, what would I change from where I am now? So I've been working now for almost a year and a half now, maybe 2 years on my own. And there was definitely a lot of things that I would change to get where I am now if I had to do this whole thing again. So the first thing I would change is definitely jumping from one project to project when you're learning. So how I learned is I would watch like a YouTube tutorial or just a blog about how to create a specific project. It can be how to create a game, for example. But something I used to do a lot that really did drag me and really did slow me down was starting like a project, watching 2 episodes out of like 10, and then jumping to a whole other project for whatever reason. It could be because I got bored from it, or maybe I didn't like it that much, or maybe I found it much harder than I anticipated, and then I changed from one project to the next. Now, this is really bad because first of all, it took away from me that will or that habit of actually sticking to a project and completing it whether you like it or not, because in the real world, once you start working on a project for someone, you can't just stop midway and say, you know what, I don't like it, I will stop. And B, also when it came to my learning, it kind of like slowed me down because I would reach a particular stage in a particular tutorial to finish a project, and then I would stop and I would start another project which would teach me the exact same stuff from the beginning but in a different way. This made me really confused, and it also slowed me down because I just kept repeating the learning process of the exact same things, and it turned me off completely. Well, if I probably stuck to one project until the end, I would have realized that, you know, maybe it was just one bad tutorial or one bad class, but I would have then got it later, and I would have had that thing in me that I got really happy that I finished a project, and definitely would have made me more excited to complete much more projects. So that's the number one thing that I would change. If I had to do this again, I would stick to one project at the start and complete it 100%, be happy with it, show it to my friends, and then go over and learn a harder project. Number 2 is picking and choosing what to learn. So when I started learning, what I first started learning is game development. And when I started doing that, I used Unity and C#. And when I actually started learning how to do it, sometimes I would reach a particular stage of learning the language and I would find that it's really hard. So I would ignore it and learn something else, or only learn the things that I needed to complete the specific things I needed for the game. So if I needed to learn, if I needed my character to jump, I would learn how to make a character jump in code. But I didn't learn how to create a menu, I didn't learn how to make a character swim, for example, or anything like that. Now, this also stuck with me when I came to learn app development. So when I started learning app development, I learned it in Swift. And my issue was I was only interested to learn the things needed to complete a specific project that I'm doing. And this, again, it slowed me down because later on, when I came to actually start working for clients, or when I started to work as an app developer for a company, I realized that there was so many things that I didn't learn only because I was picking and choosing what to learn. And anyone who is a professional programmer would know that a lot of things back each other up when it comes to programming. Similar to math, you can't choose I will only learn multiplication but not learn division, because sometimes you actually need both to solve a particular equation or a particular question. And it was the exact same thing for me for programming. When I started doing a lot of heavy programming, I realized that the stuff that I missed out on are actually directly affecting the things that I even taught myself how to do. So the second thing that I would change is I would pick an actual course or an actual tutorial and I would follow it exactly. I wouldn't choose what to learn and what to ignore. I will learn everything related to that language from A to Z. The number 3 thing that I would change is not speaking with regular people about my progress. Now, this is probably something that I personally had, and maybe you will not have it, but for a really long time, I didn't really talk with anyone about what I'm learning, how I'm learning it, how I'm speaking, how I'm like applying it, and that's me referring to like normal people, like my friends and family who are not into programming. And for some reason, I felt like they wouldn't really be able to give me some input on my progress. But man, I was completely wrong. So at the end of the day, programmers, we're learning how to program so we can solve a problem or we can provide a solution to a group of people. And that means that those problems are not problems that only programmers go through. It's problems that regular people who are not programmers go through. Because I ignored everyone else who wasn't a programmer, and I didn't really ask for some advice from non-programmers, what ended up happening is once I actually started applying my programming knowledge, I really couldn't apply it because I didn't know what people wanted. I couldn't come up with a project because I didn't know what project I should come up with that will help people. All that I was focused on is learning a language, but I didn't tell anyone my progress. Maybe if I was telling people what I'm learning, they would have said, well, David, can you learn this because I need you to create this for me? Or, you know what, my father has a restaurant and he needs someone to create a website for him. Can you learn that instead? So not really linking yourself up with the outside world, whether it's your friends or family or professors at university, will really slow you down. It definitely did slow me down because I kind of like learn a programming language just to satisfy my needs, but at the end of the day, I should be learning this to satisfy other people's needs, and that's how you get jobs, and that's how you start making money, and so on. So definitely something I would change is I'll be very open with the people around me about what I'm learning, how I'm learning it, how I'm applying it, and my plan for the future. Do I tell them I'm planning to start making apps for them? Do I tell them I'm doing this so I can start working in a company or have my own business? All these things I really recommend sharing it. Once I started sharing it, I really did start getting a better vision and a better target about what I want to do in the future with my skills. Number 4 is not progressing anymore. So again, this is something heavy that I went through, and that is I reached a level where I wasn't a complete beginner and I wasn't a professional at the same time. I was sort of like in the middle, and I didn't know how to progress further. So if I was looking at tutorials, everything seemed very easy, and if I would look at some professionals out there, I would feel like I'm not even close to getting there. And this is a period of time where I stopped learning. So I was just hoping that I can just continue applying my knowledge and get more knowledge, which in the sentence even sounds stupid, but that's exactly what I did, that I would definitely change. There is absolutely no period of time where you should stop progressing or stop focusing on learning more. Personally, if you're a programmer, programming languages are created every single day. They always get changed, new information gets added. And because I stopped progressing, because I stopped learning how to do new things or learning how to apply the same thing that I already knew in a different way, that really did slow me down. So this is something that I would change, and that is continue learning regardless of how much of an expert you think you are. Set goals for yourself so you know exactly what way you want to be, and this is very important, even the things that you already know how to do. Let's say you found out how you can create a messaging app between two people. Take that and progress through that specifically. Learn how to do it again, but in a better way, because you will be surprised that like right now, if I look at the stuff that I already created, they're horrible. I can do them in such a better and such a quicker and much more efficient way. Last thing that I would change if I had to start this again is definitely not being confident enough to show my work. This is something that I suffered with for a really long time now. I'm a shy person. I can understand most programmers are a little bit awkward with people and a little bit shy. That's me. And I would create things all the time, whether it's games, apps, websites, whatever, but I wouldn't show it to anyone. It would just sit on my desktop, and then after a couple of months I would delete it because I needed to create something else and I didn't have the space. Why did I do that? Well, I have no idea, I can't tell you, but all I know is that it wasted a lot of my time and a lot of good work that maybe someone would have liked. If you have anything that you created, whether it's a small app, website, game, even not programming related, if it's a song, show it to people, publish it to anywhere. To your girlfriend, to your wife, to your sister, to your brother, just show them your work and just hear them out. Once I did that, once I published my first game, now it wasn't the best game, it wasn't like super, like it didn't go super famous, it didn't go viral or anything like that. I personally loved it, but once I actually hit that publish button and I found it on the App Store and people all over the world were able to see it, you have no idea the boost of confidence that that gives you. It was only that game, it's called Tap Away. It was only that game, it's called Two Taps. It was only that game that really managed to get me going. And from that point forward, I told myself and I showed myself that I really can publish something that the whole world will see. And that's what made me continue in this career, and what made me be where I am now. So something I would change is from day one, any project, any piece of software that I write, publish it, show it to the world, show it to your, if you're applying for a job, show it to the person you're applying for, show it to anyone, get the people's feedback, improve it, and make it again, or make something else. Thanks so much for this episode. Here were 5 things that I would change if I had to start again. And the reason why I actually chose to do this right now is because I'm still learning, I'm still young. I only started a year ago, so I remember exactly the things that I would change. Maybe in the future I'll make another episode where I even make fun of how silly the stuff that I just said are. But for now, these were 5 things that I would change. Thank you for watching. Please leave a like, leave a subscribe. Tell me what you would change, and tell me if there's something you think I should change already. Have a good day.